For those who don't know, Morgan was on the broadcast tonight. She's not here for the podcast tonight because she hit her head today and then had to go to urgent care, then went to see a doctor, and she was diagnosed with a concussion. She's doing much better now. That's the good news. That's the good news. That's the great news. The bad news is that the Kings just threw away 2 games in a row. 2 games in a row, what should have been a 4-1 road trip. You lose when you lead by 4 with 18 seconds to go at the free throw line against the Bucks. And then tonight, out of all nights, tonight, when you are playing classic Kings basketball, for most of the game, you are cruising. The Suns, little bit of a punchback. It's down to 14. You get it back up to 20. And then in the fourth quarter with 8:10 to go, you're up 22 points. I'm looking ahead. I'm like, this is great. Couple more baskets here. We can call it a night. And Vogel says we're going small. And the Kings shrunk even smaller than them at that point. The Kings collapse. Poor decisions. Bad shots. Defense getting cooked because of bad offense. And here we are left talking about a loss. This is why the games against Portland and Charlotte hurt so bad, right? You have those losses, then you add this to it. We're seeing too many bad losses now by this group. Too many bad losses. And it sucks because tonight and the Milwaukee game, there are moments you thought this could be the turnaround for this group. This could be the stretch where they really start to take off. Tonight, just beyond disappointing. We've seen bad losses, but this might be the worst loss of the year. And I feel like we say that sometimes after losses, and the Kings have had some bad blowouts where they didn't show up. But when you're up 22, you're up 22 with 8:10 to go. Not 22 in the first quarter. That's different in the NBA. But you're up 22 with 8:10? You guys got to lock in. Why is the pace slowing down? What, are we looking at the clock? Trying to milk the clock? You can't play that way. Just beyond disappointing tonight. I wish Morgan was here to balance me out a little bit, but I'm feeling really down about where things are at right now because this one you just can't excuse. There's no excuse. There's none. I mean, the Philly game on the road trip, that was bad for sure. Milwaukee, you're playing well against Milwaukee. You battled back from 12 down. Stunning tonight for the Sacramento Kings. Here we are talking about back-to-back Kings losses that might be 2 of the most disappointing losses of the season. The Kings up 4 with 18 seconds to go in Milwaukee, lose at the buzzer thanks to Dame Lillard. And then tonight in the Valley of the Sun, they were smacking around the Suns team. The defense was moving well. Kevin Huerter was showing some nice things yet again. The Kings were just moving the right way. The ball was whipping around. Assists galore, made shots, just a complete performance. They were up 22 points with 8:10 to go. Chalk up a big W, right? Wrong. The Phoenix Suns went with a small lineup. They said, Eubanks, Nurkic, you're out. They went small, and the Kings felt like they got even smaller as they lose a 22-point lead. 119-117 in Phoenix. It's the biggest fourth quarter comeback in the NBA since the bubble. In fact, teams were 1,244 when down 22 plus since August of 2020. We'll add 1 win to that total for the Phoenix Suns tonight as the Kings have an epic collapse and all of a sudden they're 22-18. I'm Deuce Mason. Morgan Reagan, I'll probably call her at some point to check in with her as she is resting after the concussion, but we have to break this one down. Of course, each and every one of our podcasts presented by our friends over at Northwest Exteriors. Check out trustnorthwest.com. This one stings. This one's a really bad loss for the Sacramento Kings. This is the type of loss that just eats at you because I feel like the Sacramento Kings have played some of their best basketball in the last 2 games. They look more like themselves than I think really at any point this season, the last 2 games. And they're -2. And it's late game execution down the stretch. tonight, you're up 22 with 8:10 to go. Teams make runs in the NBA. We saw the Suns do it earlier in the game when they cut it to 14, but the Kings responded. All of a sudden, it's back to 20. Cool. Close this one out. But what happened down the stretch just can't be accepted, especially when you want to be a team that is taken serious in the Western Conference. This West is too good. And now we're going through a stretch of games for the Sacramento Kings where you're going, hey, that loss to Charlotte was bad. That Portland game was bad. The Philly game, oh, man, what happened there? Oh, the Bucks collapse. And then tonight, that's not a good theme. Now, there's some good from the last couple of games for sure, but the end result is you got to close these games out. I mean, tonight, the mistakes down the stretch, what? So the Phoenix Suns decided to go small. They were going to mix it up. They were like, you know what? We got to junk up this game. We had Nurkic in there, Eubanks, nothing's working. The Kings are carving us up. They're getting good looks inside and out. We've got no answer for them. So they put KD at the 5. Tell you what, man, KD played some great defense. And that Suns team was just, especially go with that smaller lineup defensively, they were making the Kings look lost out there. The Kings had no idea how to handle it. They took bad shots, careless plays. Playing small allowed the Suns to move better, switch, and they were doubling Sabonis, active hands, and the Kings just played right into it. It was like 4 shots. I also thought the pace down the stretch was like, are you just looking at the clock? In that first half, all I'm noticing is the Kings' pace up and off makes. They were pushing. They were getting great looks, and that's why it looked so much like last year again. But then we're talking about 5.5 to go. All right, the lead's kind of shrinking a little bit. It's down to 15. We're bringing the ball up slow. I mean, when Fox was letting the ball roll, I'm like, this game's close. Like, just play. You cannot go away from what's working. You can't start thinking about the clock. You have to protect the lead. In today's NBA, teams can come back. We're seeing it a lot nowadays. But that, up 22 with 8:10 to go, that's bad. That's really bad. And, I thought Fox did not play well down the stretch. Malik Monk had 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter. The Suns in the fourth quarter outscored Sacramento 35-21. 66% shooting, 7 of 11 from downtown. Durant had 15 points in the fourth quarter. Sacramento had 8 turnovers in the quarter. 8. For perspective, they had 6 going into the third. They were playing incredible basketball and totally went away from it. There's no excuse for a game like that. And it's really disappointing. That small lineup definitely messed up things. I even thought down the stretch, the way the Suns go small, I would have put Lyles back out there. Trey Lyles was doing a good job at trying to check KD, making life more challenging out there. I would have thrown him on there. And I felt like the Kings tried to adjust to them. Like, there was that one stretch where Brown takes Sabonis out at the 4:39 mark. It's a 12-point game. All right, it's close, but 4:39, you get a bucket, it's fine. He takes Sabonis out, and they go with Fox, Monk, Herter, Keegan, Harrison, Barnes. They try to match up with them instead of going, let's calm our shit down for a second and let's just run our stuff. We'll get a good look. Bad. Just bad. Final stretch of the game was Fox, Monk, Harrison, Keegan, Sabonis. I thought you could have made the case that Herter deserved to be out there. He was playing some really good basketball. And I think Herter, the last couple of games, he's getting this opportunity. It's not only like, oh, he looks more confident out there. He started this game just playing the passing lanes, getting a couple of steals, attacking the basket. I just liked his flow and how he was playing. He had some really strong moments out there. I mentioned Trey Lyles. Thought he had some strong moments out there. But down the stretch was Fox, Monk, Barnes, Keegan, Sabonis. And it just absolutely fell apart. And so now you're left with the last 2 games you should have won. You should have won. There's no like, hey man, it's tough. You cannot walk away with no wins the last 2 games. You know, I mean, even we talk about, I see what the chat's popping up to. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Sasha had some fantastic moments in this game tonight too. And I just want to double check my notes. So Sasha played the start of the 4th quarter. And look, this game started to switch a little bit, right? When they made a run in the 3rd, but the Kings answered, right? But Sasha started the 4th quarter. He ended up coming out at the 7:10 mark and did not come back in the game. Same with Lyles at that point. Those guys did not end up coming back in the game. And I thought both those guys had some very strong moments on both ends, you know? Sasha tonight tied his career high with 14. And he did it in 17 minutes, 6 of 9, active defensively. But tonight falls on some weird decision-making down the stretch, both with lineups, and then you expect more from Fox and Monk. Those guys have to bring you home. And I think that's where the disappointment really lies tonight, is some of the mistakes that are made down the stretch. Those are mistakes you expect from like a young team that hasn't been there before, who hasn't played some close games. Guys, this team's been in the playoffs. Like they don't have a whole bunch of guys that have been in the league 2 years. We're talking about guys who've been around. Like, you settle it down and run your stuff. The Kings just needed a bucket. Just a bucket. And they just could not get anything easy in the game. Just really, really bad.